Alright, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today I've got a story time for y'all about a skating group that had the cops called on them by a Karen for like skating in the street in front of their house, even though that's not illegal. It's been a while since I've told a story like this or anything involving skating, and I know I get a lot of DMs asking me to, so here y'all go. Real talk though, it should be a good story, so be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam whatsoever. You're never gonna be able to drink cream soda again. So yeah, press the like button and let's go.
The sun's down and I'm feeling it right, so tell me, little mama, what you doing tonight? You know I'm trying to hit it, I'm not being polite.
Alright, so I think everybody has like done the whole skating out in front of your house thing. At the bare minimum, you've ridden bikes outside of your house. It's very clear to everybody else that like that's not illegal to do. In fact, it's so not illegal that the street has this thing called public property attached to it. It is public property. Anybody can kind of be in the street. That being said, bro, for some reason, some people have a very unfortunate time with like skateboarding in general and just think it's scumbaggery at its finest. I don't view it that way. I used to skate a crap ton when I was a teenager, and while yes, I did do some stuff, it was never the skateboard's fault. It's the fact that I was stupid. That being said, the kid who sent in this story, I guess, has one of the neighbors that just loves to have her nose in everybody's business and just get hyper involved in like everyone's doings. And when him and his friends started skating out in front of the house, she obviously had a problem with it. And usually the problems that people have with like people skating in front of their house are, you know, you guys are up to no good, you guys are gonna be causing trouble, da-da-da-da-da, graffiti, all that stuff. And while this lady obviously was like kind of afraid of the skaters, I think she was aware of the fact that that reason sounded really stupid, because when she confronted this kid's dad about it and was talking about why he shouldn't allow the kids to skate in front of his house anymore, she started talking about what would happen if they accidentally tried to do a skate trick, lost control of the board, launched it towards her driveway, it went up the driveway, and then went off the top of the driveway like a ramp and broke her window. Would he be willing to pay for the damages if a window was broken by one of these skateboards that came recklessly through and broke the window? And the kid's dad is like, all right, let me get this straight. You want me to tell my son and his friends that they can't skate on public property because there's a small risk that one of the skateboards is going to come flying across the street, up your driveway, go off the driveway like a ramp, curve around your garage, and break your window. And when he says it that way, I guess the Karen lady got all mad and defensive and was like, well, when you put it that way, it sounds ridiculous. Which, I mean, he wasn't putting it anyway. He just repeated back to you what you said. If you think it sounds ridiculous, that's kind of on you. I'm sure this dude wasn't sitting there like, aha, I'm going to twist this to make her look stupid. He literally just repeated it back to her. And at that point, all decency of her like wanting to calmly resolve this and not just scream at the kids was gone, because the dad was basically like, no, I'm not going to tell my kids that they can't play in the street because you think that my son's friends have the ability of Harry Potter to like break physics and make things happen that are impossible. And she says that he's super inconsiderate of the neighborhood, and when the houses are damaged, he's gonna be really upset about this because he's the one that's gonna have to pay for damages. And the dad is like, you know what, I'll tell you what, if my kid manages somehow to destroy your house with his skateboard, then I will gladly pay the damages. And she like scoffs at him, I just can't believe how ridiculous you're being. And from then on, the Karen basically did everything short of directly interacting with the kids to like prevent them from having fun outside. Whenever they were out there like skating, she would go out there on her front porch with this big speaker and like play old music and drink like Arnold Palmer and watch them. And she honestly thought that that was gonna be intimidating, you know, like, these kids aren't gonna like it if I'm out there watching them playing music. But it was kind of nice, the person in the message sent me. They were like, honestly, it was pretty cool. We got some nice tunes, you know, she would play it really, really loud so we could hear it clearly, and we would just skate. In fact, she would play it so loudly that neighbors started coming out to complain, and she thought they were coming out to like be on her team, you know? But in reality, they were just coming out to tell her to turn off her stupid music because it was too loud. Which really makes me wonder how she tolerated sitting next to it, dude. Like, this girl was literally just sitting there blowing out one of her eardrums gladly just to try to show these kids a lesson. All I'm saying is you definitely are not on the logical side of things if you're gonna, like, permanently damage your hearing to teach some kids not to mess with you and skate in the street. And even then, bro, it's just an unwinnable battle. Like, you just don't control the road, dude. What's the point of being this committed to lose hearing for something that just isn't real? Like, you can't even make yourself believe that you're fighting the good fight and you're secretly in the right. Like, no, dude, it's provable that people can skate in the street. So when people start coming out to complain about her blaring music and not the kids skating, she starts getting annoyed, saying that their skating is much, much louder than the music. At which point neighbors that are completely unrelated, like not even this kid's dad, start telling her that she's out of her mind and to like leave these kids alone and let them be kids. This is what I really don't understand about, like, some boomers these days, dude. They hate our phones. All they talk about is how horrible phones are. Oh my gosh, everything bad happens because of your phone. You sprained your ankle because your phone. You sprained your knee because your phone. Your grandma left me because of your phone. But then when kids aren't, like, inside playing on their phones and they are outside doing something, some person's got a problem with it. Lady, you got two options. You can either complain about how much the youth use their phone and don't know how to talk to people, or you cannot complain when kids are outside skating around. But you can't have both. Like, okay, I don't want your kids inside, but I also don't want them outside. Just kill them. That would make me happier. I don't really know what she wanted to do. And obviously, she starts going back and forth with the neighbors that are like telling her to leave the kids alone and saying that, you know, the skateboards aren't that loud by pointing out how, like, there's actually city ordinances that skating isn't allowed in some places. Which, yeah, that's kind of a law everywhere. Those are the signs that say, like, no skateboarding, no rollerblading, like, all that good stuff. That doesn't apply to the entire city. Like, that doesn't mean that the entire city doesn't allow any skateboards. Like, I'm sorry, Timmy. I was gonna be on your side, but you're right. In this entire state, skateboarding is outlawed. No swag allowed. This isn't Footloose, Karen. Like, they're not just gonna ban something like that. And at that point, she's like, fine, if no one in this neighborhood's gonna support me, then I'm gonna find other people on this street who will. Like, if the people on the street won't support me, then I'll find other people in the neighborhood who will. Sorry, I got that backwards. And she decides at that point that she's going to get a petition from the neighborhood to ban kids from skateboarding in the street. She is claiming that, you know, it's dangerous to the property value, it's dangerous to the houses, and my goodness, someone could simply get hurt in public property, and it wouldn't be her responsibility whatsoever. And so she starts going door to door with this clipboard, trying to get people to like sign off on this thing to ban the skateboarders, right? And obviously not a lot of people are on board because none of them actually care that much, and like banning kids from playing outside isn't something that a lot of them want to do because they have kids. Why would they want to hurt their children? And like, once again, the kids just weren't evil. They weren't up to anything bad. They weren't bugging anybody. And thankfully, she doesn't end up getting a lot of like petitions, but everybody, or signatures on the petition, but everybody in the neighborhood is now aware of the fact that she's going to go to the next like HOA meeting and try to get these kids banned from existing. They simply are not allowed to have fun. Simply no. So in return, this guy and his dad and all of his friends and their parents that also live in the neighborhood also go to the same HOA meeting. And when they get there, the lady is like, as you all know, we've been very, very bugged by the presence of these skaters recently, and I've got a petition here with 3 signatures on it. It was her husband, and her friend in the neighborhood, of people saying that we simply won't stand for it anymore, and like, I push that the HOA ban skateboarding in the street, da-da-da-da-da. And the HOA people are like, all right, we're gonna open this up to discussion, everybody go ahead. And the only people on her side are the only other 2 people that signed the petition. Everybody else there is like, no, this is stupid. And she's pissed, dude. She's acting like these people just punched her in the face. She's saying that every time she's been neighborly, she regrets, and like, she would have never been nice to these people if she knew this is how they were gonna treat her, which I don't think she realized doesn't make people people want to be on your side. Like, oh, so you were lying about being nice to me just in case you wanted me to help you ban skateboarders one day? Yeah, that seems like you're living in a Lifetime movie, not in reality, so I'm pretty good not being your friend anymore. Maybe that's just me, but like, I don't know. Somebody starts going off about how, like, unless I do something nice for them, there's no point for them to be nice to me. That seems like a pretty big red flag. And when everybody decides to veto her proposal to ban skateboarding, her and her little crew, like, rage quit and storm out of there. And everybody figured that that was gonna be the end of it, you know. There's no way she decides to come back for round 2, but that's why there's still more story time. So the next day, the kid and his friends go out and they start skating, and they're pretty sure that there's gonna be no problem, right? And after they start skating for a bit, like 2 cop cars pull up and basically tell the kids that they're not allowed to skate there. And they're like, well, who called you guys? And they said, well, the HOA president called and said that they established a new rule saying that you guys aren't allowed to skate, so we're just telling you that you can't skate here. This lady had called the police and pretended to be the HOA president, saying that they made this new rule, and called the cops to try to come shut these kids down. Obviously, the cops were just kind of confused, and like once they got to the bottom of it, which the kid explained pretty simply, they realized that there was probably some stuff going on, so they ended up calling the number to the HOA that was on the HOA website, and wouldn't you know it, the person that answered the phone had no clue what they were talking about. So whoever had called had like just lied and said that they were the HOA operator. And so the cops ended up asking the kids like which house the lady lived at, because they were gonna go knock on the door and just see if she would answer, you know. And sure enough, they pointed over there. Her car was in the driveway, like she was definitely home. And the cops went and started knocking on the door, and she just like refused to answer, dude. Probably more from embarrassment than anything, because like once they come knock on the door, it should have been pretty obvious to her that everybody knew who had called the cops. Her plans to be all sneaky and not obvious definitely didn't work. So the police keep knocking and knocking, but technically they couldn't prove it was her, and she hadn't done like anything illegal that they could prove she did. So they eventually stop knocking. They come back to the kids and they're like, all right, well, I don't know. It's not illegal for you guys to skateboard here, so I guess there's really nothing we could do. If anything happens again, we're just gonna mark this as like a low priority call, so we shouldn't come back out, you know, and if there's any more problems with her, be sure to like let us know. So the cops at that point, just there's nothing else for them to do, so they leave. And as soon as they leave, wouldn't you know it, the garage door opens and out comes Miss Karen to come talk to the skaters. And she walks over to them and is like, oh my goodness, guys, why were the cops here? Wow, isn't that crazy? Why were they here? And all these kids are looking at her like, okay, we definitely know that you were the one to call the cops, but for some reason she decided to come over and start like acting like she had nothing to do with it. Every other time she's ever talked to these kids, by the way, she's screaming at them, telling them they're stupid to get out of the street, or like fighting with their parents, right? But now, after the cops come and the kids are like, yeah, it was that lady over there, and they start knocking on her door, she comes out trying to be all buddy-buddy, so everybody sees through it pretty quick, and a couple of the kids even start asking her, like, why did you call the cops? And when they start asking her why she called the cops, all of a sudden her face gets all mad again, but instead of fighting with them, she just like runs back into the garage and closes it. Like, she doesn't say anything, she doesn't answer anyone's questions, she just runs back in the garage and closes it. And nobody like sees anything from her from the rest of the day. And then the next day, dude, she goes right back to watching the kids skate out the window, but this time there's a distinct lack of police coming by and asking them to stop, dude. It's almost as if she learned her lesson, that they just knew it was her. There was no reason to be trying to hide it. Now she's like really afraid of them and overly nice, as if they're gonna threaten her or something, which is not the case, bro. They're just like, why does this lady hate us so much? Anyways, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you just taking a quick second to press the like button and let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word potato down below. It really helps the video do better, and it's much appreciated. Other than that, if you guys want more content, I do have a podcast called the Scuffed Cast. You can find a link to that down in the description, along with a link to the intro song if y'all feel like giving that a listen. Also down there is a link to the merch store. Go ahead and get yourself some of the coolest merch to ever exist. I'm pretty biased though, I will say that. And yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Follow me on Instagram at Scrubby, Twitter at Scrubby_69, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. I'm gonna go call the cops on all my neighbors now for doing things such as barbecuing just to really teach them a lesson. Who the hell do they think they are to enjoy their backyard? People, huh? No, I don't think so. If you don't know how to surf on CSGO, you're subhuman. You don't even deserve to exist. You mean nothing to the world. You are...
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are all having an absolutely fantastic day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You'll be strapped to the top of a semi-truck and be forced to eat every bug that flies in your general direction. Trust me, it's pretty gross. I wouldn't want to do it, so press the like button. Hope you guys are having a good day. Like I said, my name is Scrubby, and as you can tell from the title and thumbnail, today I've got quite the tale for you, lads. So buckle your seatbelts and get ready for an entertaining, fun ride. Without further ado, let's get into it. Anyways, guys, as I've said a couple times in a different few videos, I used to skate a ton when I was like in middle school / early high school. Me and all my friends would basically like go around and just skate a bunch of spots as much as we could because it was a ton of fun. The only problem with street skating though is that like a lot of people don't really like you being there. Skaters don't have a very good reputation, and sometimes, you know, we kind of deserve it. I'm not gonna lie, not all of us are pretty chill, but most of us really aren't trying to cause trouble. We're just trying to skate. And there was this park near one of my friends' houses that had this really, really sweet, like, 4-stair that was perfect for skating. It was literally the perfect run-up, the perfect run-off. It was fantastic. And when I was in 8th grade, so like 13, 14 years old, we would go there relatively often, you know, like... Actually, this experience that I'm going to tell a story about is why I kind of stopped going to parks and skating these types of spots. Like I said, though, there was this park with this perfect 4-stair, and we would go there and skate, and, you know, I was in middle school, so I was, like, super afraid of getting in trouble, so whenever we would go, I would make sure to be on my best behavior. I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. I wasn't trying to cause problems because, you know, hey... I just didn't want to get in trouble, alright? Like, one thing that I don't really enjoy is getting yelled at personally. I'm not a giant fan of it, alright? But, every now and then you gotta do what you gotta do. So we were pretty respectful whenever we would be there, and for most of the time, parents wouldn't really bug us because we weren't, like, near the playground. The stairs were relatively close to the playground, but it was not that big of a deal, you know? Like, for the most part, parents would leave us alone because we would leave them alone. We weren't swearing around their kids. We were just chilling, just skating at the park, having ourselves a good time. And like I said, I would go with a group of friends that were also skating, and we had one friend in particular who was just nasty on a skateboard, alright? Like, this kid was incredible, and like I said, this 4-stair was pretty perfectly sized. It was a good place to learn tricks that you wanted to throw down stair sets, and he was better than all of us. Like, I got hyped one time because I heel flipped down it, and I was like, yeah, I'm pretty good, and, you know, this kid was working on, like, throwing a beautiful laser flip down it, no hesitation, just, like, absolutely gorgeous at skating everything he did. This kid was good, and one day we're sitting there, and he's like, hey, I think I want to 360 it, and we're like, alright, I mean, a 360 down a 4-stair is doable. It's not a ton of time to spin, you have to spin pretty quick, but like, hey, you could do it. Sure, go for it, bro. So he starts practicing it, and he's not landing it beautifully every time. The first couple times, he's like messing up and kind of jumping off the board, landing on his feet. For those of you that don't know what it looks like, you just kind of jump off, like it's not rocket science. And he's working on it for probably an hour or so. And finally, he's getting good at it, and he's starting to get to the point where, like, he's rolling away but slipping out at the last second, like his back wheel's spinning out. He's really close to landing it, though. And we're all starting to get hyped. We're like, yo, bro, you got this! Because that's what you do with your friends. When your friend's trying to do something and you hope they succeed, you're, like, encouraging, you know? Why would I look at my friend trying to do something and be like, yo, Derek, hope you die. LMAO, that would be funny. Anyways, he's getting close, but he goes for it again, and his board snaps. Like, the back tail part of the board snaps off. And obviously, he's pretty pissed because he was getting close and he was going for it for like an hour. So he does what people do when they're frustrated sometimes, and he screams a word, alright? And this word is a very bad word on this website, okay? Because for some reason, Susan Wojcicki decided that certain words are off limits if any YouTuber wants to get their video into recommended. But I'm just gonna say, alright, he screamed the F word. Oh my gosh, it's really not that big of a deal. I know like 99% of you say it anyways, I just can't say it in videos. He screams the F word. And you know what? Was it slightly inappropriate because there was kids in the park? Sure. But he screams it and immediately just like picks up the broken board and we go to leave. But one of the moms from the playground decides that us leaving, no. See, that's not good enough, because what I see is a mom built like an NFL linebacker charging full speed over to the stairs, and we're all sitting there. Keep in mind, we can't escape very quickly because one of us now doesn't have a skateboard, all right? Like in most scenarios, you see an angry mom running at you, you just put your board down and start running, or like skating away as fast as humanly possible, right? But we're sitting here, and our friend, who also happens to have like sprained his ankle and can't run very fast because he's been throwing himself down a set of stairs for an hour. And much like soldiers, all right, no man left behind. I can't leave my friend back here to 1v1 an angry mom built like a linebacker, bro. I don't know where this woman was doing her yoga, okay? I don't know what was in her morning smoothie, but whatever was in it, I think Olympians need to do it, because this mom running at us was gigantic, okay? And I'm not even trying to make fun of her. She was like scary big. You know when you walk into a room and someone's so big, you're like, oh yeah, if they wanted to, they could probably eat every person in this room. I've been rereading the Percy Jackson books lately, and she reminded me of the Cyclops, how massive this woman is. So she's barreling towards us, and we're like, all right, this is how it ends. This is how we go down. It's gonna be okay, guys, you know? At least we go out together as one, brothers in arms, you know? So she runs over, she's like, which one of you screamed that word? It was probably less witchy than that, but, you know, little me has altered the memory in my head to make her sound a lot scarier. So she's like, which one of you said that? And none of us snitched because, you know, as Lil Skies once said, I ain't folding under pressure, I ain't switching for no hoe, I ain't talking to no cops, and I ain't telling all my bros. And you still live by that. I ain't snitching. So we all keep our mouths shut, and she's like, whatever. Well, I guess since all of you don't want to tell me who said it, then I guess I'll just do nothing else but call the police, and they can come figure out which one of you guys is a troublemaker. And we're like, oh no, don't call the police. Could you imagine? 911, what's your emergency? Yes, there are children here. They said a very naughty word, and I need the police immediately. Send the SWAT team, send the National Guard, send everyone. I don't even care. In fact, send Mace Windu. Call up Star Wars. Get him out here. I need everything. Anyways, we decide to start walking away and try to ignore her, but the problem is, when a lady is built like a linebacker, getting ignored is not something that they're used to, because they're like, are you guys ignoring me? And what happens next is legendary. So, not legendary, it's kind of scary. So, we're trying to walk away, and she's like, you know, you whatever, angry mom speak. And then she grabs our friend by the hoodie, the one who was trying to do the trick with the broken skateboard, and yanks him to the ground and is like, I bet it was you. You broke your skateboard. You think it's okay to swear when you get hurt? How dare you? Do you think that it's okay to swear around little kids? I bet you your mom would be so ashamed of you. How dare you decide that it's your right to say those words around kids? And is like pinning him to the ground, bro. We have a sumo wrestler mother pinning this kid to the ground, saying that it's not okay to swear around her kids because, you know, hey, it's not okay to swear around your kids, but apparently manhandling a child that's not yours around your kids, perfectly fine. What are they gonna do? What you gonna do about it? Like, what? I just don't understand her logic. You can't swear around kids, but I'm allowed to attack 8th graders because they said naughty words. That's some real logical thinking. So she's on top of our friend, and we all go over and start trying to push her off, but we can't get her off because she weighs as much as a black hole, dude. Like, I'm usually not one to make fun of people's, you know, weight, but this girl was built like Jabba the Hutt. There was no budging her. Anyways, after a bit, we finally get her off, but what ends up happening is one of my friends has to, like, swing his skateboard at her. He misses, but she's like, it starts getting up. She's like, you guys want to go? You guys want to go? We're like, no, we just want to leave. And she's like, oh, you think you're so tough because you can fight a woman with a skateboard? We're like, we just want to leave. So we try to walk away again, and she comes after us again and is like trying to grab our friend's hood and is like, no, you're waiting till the cops get here. And we're like, let us go. Let us go. We're trying to leave. We are trying to leave. We are like doing our best to get out of your way as much as humanly possible. Please just let us go. And of course, she's just not having it. She's like, oh, you kids are all the same. So disrespectful these days. Why is that every old person's response to any kid that, like, doesn't do exactly what they want them to? Like, any kid that thinks for themselves and doesn't just automatically listen to every adult's word 100% all the time, they're automatically like, you think you're so smart. Well, maybe I am smarter than you. You just attacked a child in a park. I'm just saying, your brain cells probably aren't very big. There, I said it. I wouldn't be surprised if late at night, dude, the lights go out and you go, who turned the sun off? Because you're stupid. You're stupid if you attack children. It's really not rocket science. So, whatever. This lady's going ballistic, and we're trying to get away. And at this point, there's starting to be a crowd around us because it's not every day you see gargantuan Jabba the Hutt women trying to fight like a gang of kids, dude. It felt like, you ever seen a bunch of hyenas trying to eat a hippo, bro? Like, that's how it felt. So, whatever. Everyone's, like, kind of watching. And finally, you know, I think she kind of snaps out of it. Like, maybe she's on steroids or something. Her anger stops, and she kind of looks around and realizes that everybody is watching her latched onto an 8th grader, not letting him go as we are all screaming, "We're trying to leave." And she lets go, and that's enough. He breaks free, like, of her holding onto his hood, and we just bolt. He left his broken skateboard there, dude, trucks and all. He did not care. He's like, you know what? I'll just get a new one, because he was not going to spend any more time there. We take off running as fast as we can. This dude is running on, like, a rolled ankle. I don't know if it was sprained or rolled. His ankle hurts, and we just took off. So we get around the corner and we're like, oh my God, what was that? And we're just all sitting there and like breathing really heavy because we just escaped Jabba the Hutt's clutches, you know? And the kid who got attacked is like, why did she want to fight me so bad? Like, she kept challenging him to fight while she had him on the ground by the hood. She's like, why don't you get up and fight me like a man? He's like, I'm not a man. I'm 13. I'm a child. I don't know what you want me to do. I'm not fighting you like a man because I'm not. I don't like what it, 13-year-olds are not men, by the way. Before anyone in the comments was like, whoa, when you're 13, bro, like your puberty started. When I was 13, I was like 5'2" and chubby, all right? I was not in the shape to be fighting Jabba the Hutt linebacker women who thought that the F word was the naughtiest thing to ever be said. Yeah. Moral of the story is, sometimes women really do be crazy, and men do be too. That's really all there is to it. There's not really a good moral to this. Don't get attacked by crazy people at a park, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was an entertaining story. I survived. We all got matching t-shirts that says I survived a Wookiee attack, you know, after the fact, because we were just all so proud of ourselves. Anyways, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully, you guys enjoy. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Turn on notifications, too. I give a notification shout-out every day to somebody who sends me proof of their notifications being on Instagram. So, today's notification shout-out goes to BrodyC42. Big shout-out to you for having on notifications, man. I've been responding to more DMs on Instagram, too, so you guys should go follow me on there. And, yeah, if you really enjoyed the channel and you, like, want to support it a ton, there is merch. You guys should check it out. Teespring link will be down below. It's pretty dope if I do get to say so myself. But on that note, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, as always, make sure they're hot. My name is Scrubby. Hopefully, I'll see you guys next time with another video. I am getting over the flu, but the only downside is now I have an ear infection because my body hates me. So, yeah, wish me luck, and I'll see you guys next time. I am out. 3, 2, 1, peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. Today's story time I've got for y'all is a pretty interesting one. It actually just happened like 3 days ago. Basically, I almost got jumped while I was out skating in the morning. I waited a couple days to tell this story, just to make sure I wasn't going to be like too over dramatic about it, but realistically, I think it's something that you guys will enjoy. And it's been a while since we told a little bit more of a scary story, so press the like button or you're going to get pregnant. And without further ado, let's get into it. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
The sun's down and I'm feeling it right, so tell me, little mama, what you doing tonight? You know I'm trying to hit it, I'm not being polite.
Alright, ladies and gents, so for some reason I have a very bizarre sleep schedule. I go to bed at like 7 p.m. my time and I wake up at like 2, 3 a.m. It's just been the last couple weeks. Like, it's not anything that I've had for most of my life. It's just been what's been going on lately. And usually my old schedule, I would wake up at like 7, 8 in the morning and I would grab one of my skateboards, usually a longboard recently. And there's these trails by my house that are paved and I would just kind of go skate in the morning, listen to music. It's a very relaxing way to start your morning, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I live in a pretty decent neighborhood, but about 3 miles to my left, it starts to get a little sketchy. And it just so happens that the trail that I ride in the morning, I usually go about 4 miles to my left. So for like the last half mile of this little trail, I'm in not the greatest part of town. But, you know, I'm a full-grown dude. I never have my wallet on me, and to be honest, I've never even seen anyone out there early in the morning. So I never really thought anything of it, and I would just kind of go skate down there whenever I would wake up to have a good, like, fun morning, and then I would skate back home. And honestly, I never really thought anything of it. I'm being completely genuine. And that was until this morning, dude, or this morning that this happened, not literally this morning. Basically, I woke up at like 3 in the morning and I got dressed and I was like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna go skate. I knew it was way earlier than any other time I'd gone skating. Usually I'd wait till like 4:35 in the morning at least. But I was really bored that morning and I was like, whatever, I'll just go skate, you know, why not? So I got on my longboard and it's like 3:30 in the morning and I start kind of going towards the trail and I get on the trail. In the first like 3 miles, everything's good. I'm really familiar with the area, everything's fine. And like I said, it's in like a pretty good part of town. But about 3 miles in, I have to cross these train tracks to go across to the other side. And once I cross these train tracks is when things start to get a little bit bizarre. And right before I cross the train tracks, I don't know why, I get this like weird feeling down my spine, like someone is watching me. And I look around and I realize that there's like these sewer grates nearby that are usually covered up and they're popped off. And I'm like, oh, you know, I must have noticed that and thought it was creepy, but whatever. There's nobody that I could see, so I decide I'm just gonna keep going. Honestly, I'm not sure why I didn't just turn around. Realistically, if you ever start feeling like something sketchy at 3 in the morning while you're alone, it's probably best to just go home. Like, you shouldn't keep going, but for some reason, I just really felt like keeping going, so I crossed the train tracks anyways, even after I felt like I was being watched and the sewers were open, and I go to the other side of the trail and I start going down that way. And for probably a quarter mile, once you cross the train tracks, there's houses on either side of you, and it's kind of just like a little valley with a trail in it. But as you're coming out of this little valley, there's a park on the left, and before the park is this alleyway that I couldn't see into. There's no lights in it, and it's just empty. And when I'm about 200 feet away from this alleyway, 2 people come out of the alleyway, cross the road, stand under the light, and just turn and look at me. And honestly, I had never seen anyone out even at like 4 or 5 in the morning, so I immediately just stop. And like I said, I'm probably 200-300 feet away from these guys. And it's 2 like fully grown men that both have their hoods on, they have face masks on, you can't see who they are. And I immediately am like, okay, something is very wrong here, bro. Because when they cross the street, they don't keep walking. It wasn't like they just crossed, looked at me, waited a second, and then kept walking. They're still just standing there staring at me, and I'm staring back at them. And I had AirPods in and I was listening to a song, and for about a minute straight, me and these 2 dudes are just staring at each other, and I'm not moving. I don't know if they thought that like if they stood and stared at me long enough I was gonna go ride past them, but I'm by myself at 3 in the morning and I can't see what they look like. They're hiding their faces, and it's just weird to come out of an alleyway right when I was coming, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I'd rather not. So I'm just kind of sitting there. And finally, after about a minute of us just looking at each other the entire time, just not breaking eye contact, like just kind of sizing each other up, they both turn and start walking down the trail away from me, like where I was going. And at that point, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna get out of here. I just felt super sketch, bro. And honestly, I'm usually not the type of person to feel sketchy. Like, I don't really freak out a whole bunch about this type of stuff. But I just had this feeling in my gut that was like, run, get out of here, dude. So as soon as they started walking the other direction that I wasn't going, I'm like, all right, well, now's my opportunity to get out of here. So I flip my longboard around and I just start riding back towards the house. I'm like 3.5 miles away, 3.25 mile-ish, because I didn't go all the way to the end. But I just turn around and start going back. And for some reason, after about 3 pushes back towards the house, I get this feeling. I'm like, I should turn around and look. I don't know why I had this feeling to turn around and look, but I do. And when I look back, one of the guys is gone. He's just disappeared. I have no clue where he is. But the other guy is full-blown sprinting towards me now. Like, the 2 guys that had been walking away from me, one of them used his Enderman teleportation skills and has vanished, and the other one is just sprinting at me full speed. And at that point, I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to get jumped, bro. I'm screwed. And like, the 300 feet we had between us had turned into like 400, but this guy is sprinting at me. And the other one's gone. For all I know, he could be taking some shortcut to catch up with me so I turn around and I just start like going as fast as I can. Thank God I was going downhill, and I'm just flying, dude, and I whip out my phone as I'm like riding downhill on the longboard, which probably wasn't the best idea, and I just start texting everybody, but it's like 3 in the morning, so none of my friends are awake. So I decided that I was gonna call Benji, the YouTuber who lives in Norway, that's like my best friend, my brother, that's my homie for life, and he doesn't answer. He's like, yo, bro, I just woke up, like, what do you want? Because they're like 9 hours ahead, it's noon over there, homie had a nice relaxing sleeping in. I'm calling him like, please answer, bro. So I text him, I'm like, hey, I think I'm about to get jumped, will you call me? So he calls me and he's like, dude, like, come on, stop messing with me, that's not funny. And he realizes that I'm not kidding, because I'm like, dude, shut up, like, this is where I am. If anything happens, I want you to call the cops, because I have no clue where this dude is, and the other one is still running after me. Granted, he's a lot slower than me going downhill on a longboard, so I'm gaining ground on him, but every time I turn around, homie is still full sprint coming for me. And I'm just like freaking out, bro. I'm not having a good time. I really didn't know where the other guy is. So I'm coming back across the train tracks, and I'm going back to the part where that open sewer grate was that I was telling you guys about, you know? And I'm talking to Ben on the phone, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? Like, these guys, they're chasing me. And as I'm on the phone with him explaining the situation, I don't know who it is. Somebody comes out of one of the open sewer grates. Full transparency, in retrospect, now that I've had the time some calm down, it could have just been like some homeless dude that was sleeping down there, heard me yelling on the phone, and just wanted to make sure everything was good. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, that's the other guy. Like, because his friend, you know, the other dude had been chasing me, he was missing. So obviously, as soon as I see like a figure kind of pop out of the sewer, I'm like, oh my God, it's his friend. And I was not having a good moment, bro. I thought I'd been cut off, that he had taken some shortcut through the sewer to come get me. I think when you're scared, bro, thinking rationally is just the last thing on your mind. It's not like you're like, oh, I should be a logical person. Hell nah, bro. I'm just trying to not get jumped, get home, and make a video. Anyways, when the guy pops out of the sewer, dude, my adrenaline gets going so hard. I just pick up my longboard and I sprint for probably about a mile. And I don't think I've ever run that fast. Like, my adrenaline was just like, get out of there. And the entire time, bro, Ben is just laughing on FaceTime because, like, he's aware that I'm flying. I think he could probably see how fast I'm running, and I'm just like making, you know, fear noises, like, ah, just like running as fast as I can. So finally, I get like a mile away, and I calm down, and Ben is still laughing at me, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? Like, why would you go longboard by yourself without telling anyone where you're going at like 3 in the morning, you idiot? And honestly, it was really stupid. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it was the least well thought out thing ever. I just don't think I had thought about it. Like, until he said it like that, I was kind of like not really thinking about the situation. I was just going on my morning longboard ride, which I know sounds stupid, all right? I'm aware of the fact that, like, oh, girls couldn't do that. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a 6'3" dude. There's nothing I could do about it, okay? I don't think as much about those things. I understand. It's just, I'm just built different. Regardless, I did learn my lesson, and I really don't think I'm gonna be going out in the middle of the night to longboard anymore, especially because, I don't know, judging the, like, fear noises I made while running away from sewer guy, I'm just not ready to fight off a bunch of people trying to jump me. You probably could have figured that out, though. Real talk, though, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. I know this is a short one compared to everything I've been dropping lately, but I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny, so hopefully y'all enjoyed. If you did, press the like button, comment down below, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good stuff. If you want more content, I do have a podcast called The Scuffed Cast. Link could be found down below. Feel free to go give it a listen and subscribe over there. And if you want to check out the intro song, the link to that will also be in the description. Feel free to give it a listen, and the Teespring store with the merch is down there as well. Real talk, I hope you guys all have an absolutely incredible day. Thank you so much for all the support. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. I hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And if you are, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. Your school's going to reopen, but only for you. You're going to be the only kid in every one of your classes, and your teachers are going to be staring at you for 45 minutes at a time. Anyways, yesterday when I was live streaming over on twitch.tv/ScrubbyOG, where I've been streaming every day, link down in the description below. Self-plug. Someone in the comments section was like, yo, do you have any more skating stories? And the good thing is I do. I actually do have a story that involves skating in a Lowe's parking lot when some lady just started screaming at us for no reason. But apparently it do be like that sometimes out here on the streets. Other than the fact that I sound like a white dad trying to be gangster right now, it should be a pretty fun story about me getting yelled at while skating. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into the video. 3, 2, 1, blah. So summer nights in Vegas are just kind of like a weird situation. It's usually like 117 degrees during the day. So at night when it gets down to like 90, that's when you go and try to have fun with your friends. And when you're like 16, 17 and you can stay out a little bit later, you basically just find a place to hang out where it's not as hot and the sun's not beating down on you, and you do what you gotta do. And since me and my friends would skate pretty regularly, the skate parks would close at like 9, and we would just be like, all right, we don't want to finish skating yet, so we'd go get milkshakes and go to an empty parking lot that was lit up and just kind of skate around and goof off. We wouldn't harm anybody. Like I said, it's late at night. It's not like we were skating in a parking lot during the middle of the day when grandmas are trying to get into Walmart and we're like popping ollies over their shopping carts and hitting them in the face. It wasn't like that. We were really just in empty parking lots with the lights on, drinking milkshakes and skating. That was all we were doing. And there was one parking lot near like most of our houses, or relatively close to most of our houses, that had a Lowe's in it. And it was basically empty. There was a lot more buildings, but Lowe's was the only store that was still open inside, so, you know, it was the perfect situation. The parking lot was lit up. There was never a lot of cars because who's going to Lowe's at like midnight? Not a lot of people. I highly doubt most people are like, oh my god, babe, I really need kitchen tile at 2 in the morning. So it was just a good place to hang out and skate. And most nights there would be literally no cars in the parking lot. Every now and then there would be like one other car, but we would basically like just skate in this empty parking lot, no big deal. And it was kind of a tradition. We did it for like 3 weeks straight, no problem. And there had even been cop cars that would like drive through, but because we weren't doing anything but like drinking milkshakes and skating, they would for the most part leave us alone. Like they would just kind of be like, hey, are you guys okay? Yeah. You doing anything bad? No, whatever. So it was a really nice spot to hang out. And one day, we like get to the middle of the parking lot, we get out, we just start skating under these fluorescent lights, and we're just having a good time and laughing, and this truck pulls in. But it's one of those super big lifted trucks with like, you know, just screams, hi, I'm compensating for something. Just one of those trucks that's lifted way too high. All right, Timmy, you don't really need a monster truck to drive around. But whatever, it parks in the parking lot, and we just don't really think anything of it. We keep skating. And if you've ever been around skateboards before, whenever you're doing any type of trick, there's a pop that the board makes whenever it like hits the ground, but it's basically unavoidable to do most tricks. There's going to be a noise like it or not. So we're skating, and it's not super loud, and it's literally us 2 cars in the parking lot, and we were here first. So we just keep skating, and apparently, whoever is in the truck is very, very, very annoyed at us making noise because we start to notice that whenever we're, like, popping our board, they're honking, as if to be like, hey, be quiet. So whatever, we're like just kind of laughing at it, smiling, because it's kind of amusing that whoever is in this truck is just staring at us when they're the ones in the parking lot at midnight too, and trying to piss us off and like honk the horn. It doesn't really bother us that much. So we just keep doing tricks, and they keep honking whenever we're making the pop of the board. So one of my friends goes to do a trick and they honk, and it like throws him off, so he flips off the truck because it's like, dog, come on, we get it. You don't like us being loud. We're not leaving. We were here first. Go find another parking lot. It's not like they're hard to find at midnight. But when he flips off the truck, it like revs its engines, does a little burnout, and peels over to us, and the windows roll down, and all you hear is just incoherent bump, like boomer screaming, just, who do you think you are? I'm an adult, you should respect your elders. I don't know who you think you are to flip me off. Do you have any idea what time it is? As if that has anything to do with it. Like, oh my god, you are so right, sir. I didn't realize that at midnight I was flipping people off. Everybody knows that this is a sacred hour. So the boomers are screaming at us, and we're obviously laughing because there's this truck screaming, and that's when the passenger door like flies open with the sass that only a middle-aged woman could provide to such a non-important situation. Moms really be bringing the heat to the most irrelevant stuff, dude. Like, excuse me, snacks are downstairs, but like the eyes say World War III is about to break out. That's low-key how this door flings open, is with the anger of 80 moms. And what do we see coming down from the side of the truck except for camouflage Crocs? That's right, the lady stepping out of this apparently not only hates herself, but hates everyone that has to look at her footwear because camouflage Crocs are like a double whammy. And I get it, Crocs are reasonable sometimes, but I mean, it's just a weird footwear to wear to yell at people. Like, it's very hard to be intimidated by somebody wearing Crocs, but I see this Croc step down and like this very, very angry Karen-looking woman who definitely peaked in high school is just standing there angrily, and she's like, "Which one of you punks flipped off me and my husband?" And, you know, and we hear like, "Get back in the car, Cheryl," from the other side. The husband's trying to get her back in because he probably realizes that if this does go bad, there's like 8 teenagers and like an angry middle-aged woman in Crocs and him. So she just starts being, "Who the hell think you guys are to come around these parts and be disrespectful?" And obviously, because of the situation at hand, we're just like arguing with her. So incoherently, most of us yelling at her are like, "You guys came here. We were here first. We're here every night. What do you mean? You don't own the parking lot. You're the one honking like a moron whenever we're doing tricks." And she starts screaming. She's like, "I don't know if you guys understand what it means to be nice to people, but me and my husband are trying to have a serious conversation in our truck, and you guys keep making loud noises with your skateboards." Oh, my bad. I'm sorry that you and your husband are trying to figure out your divorce in the middle of a Lowe's parking lot at 1 in the morning and are annoyed by the fact that teenagers are also here. Maybe you go literally anywhere else and have this conversation, bro. I don't know why you need the parking lot that we're always in to do this. You understand that our divorce lawyer works behind the Lowe's in a dumpster and we're here to meet him at 1 in the morning? Like, I don't understand how any of that is my fault. And like I said, you guys can't have a conversation with a faint pop of wood going on. Like, what do you mean? Skateboards aren't that loud. It's not like it's a gunshot every time. "Yeah, honey, I just feel like when you fart and hold me under the covers, it makes me feel like you don't love me, and that's why I want to get a divorce." Those damn skaters over there are making it impossible to have this conversation, aren't they? So everybody's laughing at her, which makes her more mad. Karens have this thing that when they're not taken seriously, it activates like their magic card to just add extra anger to the situation. So we're obviously laughing, and she decides what she's gonna do to teach us a lesson is she like stomps over to us with her camouflage Crocs and goes to try to pick up one of my friend's skateboards. And my friend like puts his foot down on it when she tries to like pick it up. And so it like slams back down. And so her hands go back down because she was trying to pick it up. It doesn't hurt her. Her fingers don't get smashed or anything. But, you know, it's kind of saying like, you're not going to steal my stuff just because you think that it's loud in a Lowe's parking lot. And when that happens, she decides that that's going to be her, you know, pity card because she just starts screaming, "Ah, help, help, help." And my friend like backs away and we're all just standing absolutely still watching this lady scream, "They're attacking me, they're attacking me, they're attacking me." And she's freaking out. And the other truck door opens and we're like, great, her husband's gonna come over here and start trying to fight us. The husband comes over and starts like trying to push his wife into the truck. He's like, "Honey, we gotta go, we gotta go." And she's like, "They're attacking me." And he's like, "No, they're not attacking you. Get in the truck." She's like, "No, no, they're attacking me. This is our place to have a conversation. Help, help." And then she looks around and realizes that there is literally nobody else in the parking lot. She is screaming help to nobody. It's literally us and her husband. And clearly, her husband is sitting here thinking, my God, I should get a divorce because this lady is batshit crazy trying to flop like an NBA point guard because these kids accidentally, like, you know, made her hand uncomfortable because she tried to steal their skateboards. Which, in the grand scheme of things, is a pretty fair trade-off. You tried to steal my friend's stuff. He, I don't know, made your hand owie. And when she realizes that there's nobody else to help her and all of us are just laughing at her, she like flips us off and yells, "If you guys were my kids, I would beat you." And we're like, oh, okay, sick insult. I don't understand if that's supposed to make me sad. Oh yeah, if you were hypothetically my mother in a hypothetical scenario where we met in the Lowe's at midnight, you would hit me? God damn, man, I guess at that point, what am I supposed to do? That's the greatest insult I've ever heard. So her husband finally gets her back in this giant lifted truck that he got to compensate. And he's like going back around to the driver's side, but he does it very awkwardly where he has to walk around the truck while we're all just staring at him. So we're all staring very just what the hell is going on. And as he's coming around the car, he looks, he goes, "I'm really sorry, guys." And we're like, "It's okay. Have a good night." And he just, you know, smiles and gets back in the truck and drives away. And we're like, what the hell just happened, dude? I'm pretty sure that this Karen, it was a full moon, so maybe it just came out and her husband was just like really fed up with it, realized she was going off the deep end because it was just the night where the Karen werewolves come out. But yeah, moral of the story is me skating in a Lowe's parking lot at midnight might have accidentally caused a divorce. So if I accidentally made your parents' marriage fall apart, that's definitely my bad. But shout out to that husband for realizing that his wife was a little bit crazy. On that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. I have been streaming on Twitch, just watching videos, so if you guys want something to do during quarantine, twitch.tv/scrubbyog is where you should check it out. If you're new, turn on notifications because I give a notification shout out every day. Today's notification shout out goes to Bitchy Nina. Big thank you for having on those notifications. I do really appreciate it. And yeah, hope you guys have an absolutely incredible day. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I have a story time for you that I think you're going to enjoy that was sent in to me about a group of skaters kind of getting into an argument with a mall cop. You know, it was pretty much up my alley, alright, I enjoyed it. Regardless, before we get into it though, be sure to press the like button or no joke, no scam, Paul Blart's gonna pepper spray ya and that wouldn't be fun, and let's go.
I'm getting quiet now. Lay low when you reach, so I'm wiping down. Making out, stack the bread.
Alright, so this story takes place on like a Saturday afternoon, almost nighttime-y, in front of a parking lot across from a mall. Basically, the way that this mall was laid out was that, like, there was the mall where you would walk in, go to JCPenney's and all that stuff, and in the same parking lot on the other end were some restaurants, you know, a couple fast food places, that stuff. And on this particular story, a subscriber and a group of his friends, they had been skating all day, just kind of going around the area, and they decided to go to one of the fast food places across from the mall to get something to eat. No harm, no foul, you know, they're not trying to get up to any trouble, they're not vandalizing anything, they just end up going in, they eat their meal, and they come out, and at that point, the mall is kind of dying for the day. Like, the parking lot's pretty empty, and the parking lot is huge, to the point where there's probably like 50, 60 spots between the closest car and the parking lot of this fast food place. So they just kind of start skating in the parking lot in front of the fast food place. They were literally the only people there. The workers in the fast food place didn't come out and kick them out, you know, they were just kind of watching them skate, so they figured it was no big deal. They could have gone somewhere else, but it was just, you know, they had just eaten inside the restaurant, they were just hanging out here, and nobody seemed bothered, so it didn't seem like a priority to move. And as they're skating, doing their thing, they're noticing that they see these, like, small headlights kind of coming towards them. And obviously, it's not a car, so they just kind of keep skating, doing their thing. And as it comes into view, it's two mall cops with the bike helmets on, the white collared shirts, you know, the whole getup on Segways coming at them about as fast as a Segway could go. Which is, like, relatively fast, but still not very fast, you know, they're still on a Segway trying to catch up to these kids, so they're kind of flying across the parking lot as fast as the Segway can carry them, and they pull up to these kids that are skating in the parking lot, not harming anyone, and instantly are, like, treating them like they're criminals, bro, like they're suspects in some type of crime. Do you guys have any idea what the protocol is in this parking lot? Do you have any idea what the rules are around skateboards in this area, huh? Do you kids know what that is? Are you guys up to something? What are you guys doing here in this parking lot? Are you guys up to no good? Are you planning to rob the mall, huh? What are you guys up to? No good? Just right off the bat. And listen, man, I understand that skaters have gotten a bad rep for, like, being rambunctious, rowdy kids. For the most part, they're just not, though. Especially if they're skating in the parking lot of a fast food restaurant, I highly doubt that this is their way of, like, scouting the mall that they're about to commit a super advanced robbery on. Have you ever seen Ocean's 11? You think just like a bunch of teenage kids outside of a fast food restaurant skating back and forth can magically overwhelm your security with a fantastic heist plan? That means that you would have to be the most pathetic mall cop of all time. Like, at least Paul Blart had a real enemy, you know, they were organized, they knew the layout of the mall. If you get overran by 3 kids that look up to Tony Hawk, not that there's anything wrong with Tony Hawk, you're just not a very good security guard because Tony Hawk doesn't give out tips on how to commit armed robbery very often. Anyways, the kids are kind of trying to be respectful because obviously it's a security guard. So they explain pretty rationally that, like, no, we were skating and then we came to the fast food restaurant, we ate in there and we came out and we saw the parking lot was pretty empty. We don't really want to go home yet, it's pretty close, so we were just kind of skating around.
And the mall cops at that point just don't believe their story. Even though that makes plenty of sense, like there's really nothing suspect about it, they decide that they need to sit down because they're getting questioned. And the kids don't have to stay. Obviously, the mall cops don't actually have a right to detain you, but they're kind of like, whatever, we don't want problems. So they sit all the kids down and they start pulling them away like one at a time and questioning them separately, which is a tactic that like they do when they're trying to figure out what's actually going on because you guys didn't get your story straight in time. The only problem is there wasn't a crime going on, it's just kids skating. So sure enough, all of them just answer the same way because they told them the truth. No, we were skating, we came to this fast food restaurant, we got food, now we're skating in the parking lot. And the mall cops just can't believe that kids with skateboards aren't up to no good. So after they interview all of them and there's nothing going on, they start saying, all right, well, we're going to search your backpacks. We're going to search your backpacks now. And at that point, the kids start to have a problem with it. They're like, no, dude, we've answered your questions. You've, like, bugged us. You're not going to go through our stuff. Like, that's where we're going to draw the line. We're just not cool with you searching through our things. And the mall cops try to turn this into a big deal. They're like, why? You know, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't mind me looking through your stuff. Like, why are you being suspicious? And one of the skater kids said what basically everyone would be thinking at that point. He goes, because you're not a cop. I don't have to show you anything, bro. You work for the mall. I already answered your questions. I'm not going to let you just look through all my stuff. And at that point, the mall cop must have had his ego bruised, bro. Being reminded that he wasn't a real police officer must have really hurt his feelings, dude. He's like, hey, I took an oath to protect this mall, all right? Because the next thing he does is he starts yelling about how skaters like you have no respect for authority, and, you know, one day he's going to be in a situation where people need to listen to him, and he's going to regret being mean to people like that. And the kid wasn't even trying to be mean. He was just honestly answering the question of why I'm not going to let you look through my stuff, because you're not actually a cop and you don't actually have the right to go searching through my stuff. It's not that complicated. So at that point, all the skaters kind of start arguing with him, saying that, you know, it's not a matter of respect. It's not trying to be disrespectful. He just has no right to do that, and they're not going to do that. And at that point, remember, there's two mall cops. The other mall cop tries to kind of calm down his partner and be like, you know, we actually can't search their bags. Let's just escort them off the mall parking lot and call it a day. But the main mall cop wasn't having any of it. He's like, no, these kids are up to no good. I can just tell. There's a reason they're not going to let us search their bags. And the other mall cop tries to remind him again, like, yeah, dude, I understand that you think that, but you can't just search through people's bags. You have to have, like, a warrant or probable cause and be a real cop. That's an important part of the process. But Mr. Mall Cop's just not having any of it, you know, and he's staring down the kids saying, like, if you let me search your bag and there's nothing there, then, like, I'll drop all this, you know, but I know you guys are up to no good, and that's how confident I am. So finally, one of the skaters whose backpack doesn't have anything in it because they don't have anything goes, fine. If I let you search my bag and there's nothing in it, you have to leave us alone and let us skate here. And the security guard gets all smug. He's like, yeah, okay, finally one of you, sure. So he takes the kid's backpack and instead of nicely searching it, he like flips it upside down and dumps everything out, which obviously just the rudest way you could do that, bro. He finally lets you search his stuff and you just dump it on the ground. Like, no wonder they didn't want to let you search the stuff. Another reason probably why they shouldn't. Sure enough, though, there's nothing in the backpack bad. So the mall cop reluctantly is like, fine, whatever. I guess you guys can stay here, but we're going to be keeping an eye on you. And, you know, even if you bought stuff from there, there's still a no loitering after an hour. So I'm setting a timer now and I'm coming to kick you guys back out. And the other cop is kind of like, dude, can we just leave them alone? Like, they're not bugging anyone. It's fine, right? And the other guy looks at him and is like, do you have any idea how much pressure is on me to protect this mall? Do you have any clue? And the other mall cop is like, no, because it's just not that serious. Just actually says it to him like, it's just not that serious, which the truth is, it is not that deep, all right? I appreciate mall cops that do their job, you know, that don't go crazy with power. It just seems like for whatever reason, the job mall cop attracts people that are like, I want to have the authority of a cop without any of the actual parts of a cop. Like, I can just get hired by anyone. Let's be honest, most mall cops would be lucky to be able to stop like an 8-year-old stealing something from a candy store, let alone actually doing anything to keep people at a mall safe. No offense to any mall cops out there. But this dude was just taking it way too serious, and obviously they kind of start bickering back and forth, and at that point the skaters jump in and start telling the dude he's just definitely got to stick up his butt, he's taking things too seriously, it's not that deep. And once he kind of starts getting ganged up on by everybody, the Mr. Mall Cop guy hops on his Segway and goes to like get out of there quick. So he cranks the speed on his Segway, and it doesn't go that fast, but it can get moving, and he starts going across the parking lot. And he's looking over his shoulder, still arguing with the skaters and the other mall cop, and he doesn't realize that he's getting closer to the cars, and he smacks his Segway into the back of a parked car and kind of like does a sideways roll, disengage, crash thing. And obviously, the skaters start laughing. The other mall cop, though, starts going up to check on him, and he gets up all like, I'm fine, I did that on purpose, you know, trying to deflect the fact that he definitely just crashed his Segway in front of everybody, and like got back on it and started hurriedly going to the mall. Honestly, that's probably your best option. I'd like to make fun of him for just getting up and running as fast as possible, but that's probably the best move you've got in that situation, you know? You just embarrassed yourself in front of a bunch of people you've been yelling at. Just get out of there. Just go. You know, it's too late to redeem yourself. It's impossible at that point. Either way, they stayed in the skated in the parking lot for a bit. Ended up going home before an hour, though, just because they weren't planning for staying for long. Like, he made a big stink for people that weren't even going to be there that long. But, yeah, that's the moral of the situation, Mall Cop versus skaters. I figured it would just be a story y'all have enjoyed. I haven't done one of these in a while, so I figured it would make y'all happy. But anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. So if you enjoyed, press the like button, comment down below, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, you can check out the intro song. Link to it can be found down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast. Other than that, if you use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuels checkout, you will get yourself a discount. Fantastic energy drink for gamers, and, you know, getting a discount ain't too shabby either with code SCRUBBY. And of course, coming on the 29th of this month, I got new Halloween merch, but if you want to get yourself the merch that's still out, a link to it can be found in the description down below. But yeah, on that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. I'm going to go apply for a job as a mall cop. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I've got a story time for y'all. About this time, this lady called the cops on me and my friends for like just doing nothing but skating around a neighborhood, minding our own business. It's been a while since I've told a story about skating or anything like it. I saw some comments asking for it, so here y'all go. It should be a pretty fun story time, though. Before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, or no joke, no scam, a Karen's gonna absolutely murder a fun time next time you try to have it. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so me and a couple of friends loved to skate when we were younger, like early high school, late middle school, most of high school actually. And, you know, there would just be some times where we didn't feel like going to a skate park. We didn't feel like going and finding a spot, so we would just kind of like cruise around a neighborhood, goof off in front of somebody's house, you know, and then just kind of like hang out. We weren't up to anything bad, truthfully. We never like were vandalizing anything. The worst we would do is swear, I guess, which, you know, it just happens when you're falling, when you're skating. It just is what it is. And one day, we were at my friend Blake's house, and Blake lived in a pretty cool neighborhood. Their curbs just so happened to, like, not be a normal curb the way that they were kind of like a little kicker ramp. And so we were just kind of goofing off in front of his house. We had put a rail kind of next to this curb so we could go up it, use the curb as a kicker, and then get onto the rail. And we were there goofing off, having a great time for a while, but after an hour or two of that, we started to just kind of get bored of the same angle over and over again. And Blake's neighborhood had like a park in the front of it. And up in the front of the park, for some reason, the way that like the road had been made, the curbs were a lot steeper, so it was more of a ramp, you know what I mean? So he says, look, let's take the rail down there, we can set it up, I've done it all the time, it's no big deal. So we get the rail, you know, we have one guy holding it on one end, one guy holding it on the other, they're skating down, everybody's kind of following them, and we get to the park and we set up the rail. And the way that the park is situated, like we can see, he lived in a guard gated neighborhood, we can see the guard shack from where we are, and the guard is looking at us, we're looking at him, you know, he waves, we wave, so we think we're all golden at this point. Call me crazy, but if I'm in a guard-gated neighborhood and I start setting something up and the guard looks at me and just is like, whatever, then I'm assuming that I'm in the clear. So we set it up and we start skating, and sure enough, you know, when a skateboard is grinding on a rail, it can be a little loud. It sounds like a metallic noise. We were by a park, so it wasn't incredibly loud, and even when we were doing it in front of his house, his neighbors hadn't been complaining at all. But that being said, we're kind of going on this rail for a little bit, and after 10, 15 minutes of it, out comes this like white Range Rover from a couple houses down, and it like drives up to us. And when I say a few houses down, I mean this house was well within walking distance. Like, whoever was in this car and drove down this far literally could have just sat in, like, the car for 3 seconds, or they could have taken 8 steps. This person did not have to drive down here. But it pulls up to us, it gets really close, and it rolls down its window. And sitting there is just this lady, and next to her is her husband, and they're both there, and they're like, what are you guys doing? And so, you know, we kind of look at them, and we're like, we're skateboarding. You know, I thought it would be really obvious because there's like skateboards under all of our feet. There's a rail there. It's obvious what we're doing. And her husband look at each other, and you can tell that they're kind of like communicating without talking. You know, when people have been together for a long time, or like you know someone well, you can kind of do that. And they look back at us, and they're like, well, do you have a permit for that? And obviously, no, we do not have a permit for that, because you don't need a permit to be in the street with like something like a skateboard. So we're like, no. And they start saying that, well, you know, if you don't have a permit to be in this neighborhood, you're not allowed to be here, especially when you're setting up stuff like this. And we're like, oh, no. What do you mean? Like, we're friends with Blake. Blake lives here. He lives in this neighborhood. This lady had thought that we had just like all snuck in for some reason just to play at this one park, like right next to the gate of this neighborhood. And I guess she thought that the guard was like just cool with it for some reason. So we tell her that like, no, we're here with somebody who lives here. And she starts looking at Blake, and she looks him up and down, and she's like, I don't believe that you live here. Obviously, this girl had thought that, you know, she could just be the queen bee of this neighborhood, I guess. Just, like, determine who does and doesn't live here based upon their scent, dude. Like, I don't know if she was sniffing his hormones or what. Like, but how do you even be able to tell if somebody lives in the neighborhood based off the looks of them, dude? Like, this just makes no sense. So whatever, he kind of is like, no, I do live here, and he tells her the address. And she's like, well, regardless of whether or not you live here, you have to understand that us adults are the ones paying for this stuff, and we don't want you guys skating right here. And, you know, at that point, we're kind of like, okay, we have dealt with this a little bit before. Any person that, you know, frequently skates can tell you, for whatever reason, people just assume you are up to the absolute worst. Like, you could be doing a charity drive, bro. Kick flips for kids or something. Like, to raise money for kids that are underprivileged, dude. You could be doing, like, ollies for ostriches, and every ollie you do sends $1 to burned ostriches from that Australian fire. And some Karen would still be like, these hooligans are doing marijuana. So whatever, we're kind of used to it at this point. So we kind of tell her like, look, we're not going to leave. We're set up. We're fine. He lives here. You guys pay for it. We understand, but so do his parents, and they're cool with us being here. And we point out that the guard right there has been watching us do it and doesn't seem to be that pissed about it. So if it was really against the rules, he can come tell us, but we're not going to listen to just this random lady. And listen, sure, I guess you could classify that as like quote-unquote mean, you know, like we didn't have to do that. Keep in mind, she also didn't have to come down here and start telling us that like she owns the park and we can't be here. But when we tell her that, bro, obviously she does not like that very much. Adults don't like being told no, especially when they're just like wrong, you know? So she starts saying, who do we think we are to not listen to her? And the guard clearly is not paying attention, because if he saw what they were up to, he would 100% come over here and kick us out. And then Blake, you know, at this point, everybody else is kind of shutting up. We're letting Blake handle it because he lives here. He's like, dude, we've been waving at the guard. Like, it's just not that deep. Like, you are being ridiculous right now. It's fine. We're not hurting anybody. And the lady is like, yeah, you're not hurting anybody. You're not hurting anybody. What happens if you hurt yourself? Are you going to sue me? And Blake points out, no, I wouldn't sue you because it's not yours. The problem with you trying to, like, boss me around and, like, you know, tell me to get out of here is, even if I were to fall and hurt myself, I'm in the street, dude. Like, how in the world would I possibly sue you 8 houses down for me falling on the sidewalk here? If anything, I would sue the community, but also, I'm not gonna do that. I'm accepting the fact that I'm skateboarding here. It's okay. Like, this Karen is just going through all these worst case scenarios that just are not going to happen, right? And it's obvious she just doesn't want us there because she thinks it makes her neighborhood, like, look bad to have skaters there. She just thinks we're up to no good. And we're just not really having it, bro. So she tries to threaten us one more time. She's like, well, regardless of your reasoning, I don't want you guys out here doing this currently. I have friends coming over soon, so you guys need to move. And we're like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen. You know what? Call me crazy. If this lady would have come up to us peacefully, like just rolled up the car calmly and been like, hey, you know what, guys? I've got some friends coming. This is crappy. They're super judgmental. They're going to think it's like weird that these kids set up a skate park right in the entryway of my neighborhood. Can you guys please just like go back to the house for a bit? I'm sorry. My friends suck. You know what? We probably would have done it. But when you come down yelling at us saying that we're hooligans who are going to sue you and like we're breaking the rules, nah, we're not moving. So when we say we're not moving, she's like, I'm going to go get the guard then. And so we're like, by all means. She drives over to the little guard shack. She gets out. Her and her husband start like arguing with the guard guy. And we can't really tell what the guard guy's saying, but he's kind of like signaling to them to leave, like go away. Do you know what I mean? And they're screaming something about how they pay his salary and they pay all this money and he has to do what they say, da-da-da-da-da, just obviously Karening, and he's just kind of ignoring it. He's just literally shooing them away. And after a bit, they give up and they get back in the car after yelling at him and him not listening. It becomes obvious that like it just wasn't going to work, I think. So they get back in the car, and as they're driving by all of us, they roll down the window and they're like, we're calling the cops. We're calling the cops. And we're like, okay, go ahead. Obviously, you just told the guard about us. He looked at us and still shooed you away. We're not doing anything wrong. Like, we're literally skating in the street. And at that point, dude, all of us have just gotten annoyed. We're like, nah, we're staying now. Usually, I'm not going to lie, whenever somebody was like, get out of here, we're calling the cops, we dipped. We ran. We fled the scene. But we're in his neighborhood, in the street, and we're just not doing anything wrong. So whatever, the Range Rover goes back up and parks in their driveway, and then coming back out of the house is her and her husband, and they set up these like lawn chairs at the bottom of the driveway so they can watch us get in trouble, I guess, or what they expected would be us getting in trouble. And we just keep skating the rail. We don't care. And after about like 50 minutes, finally a cop car pulls up to the gate. It doesn't even have its sirens on. Because, you know, obviously we're not a priority, dude. They're still sitting outside. They had been just kind of like creepily watching us for a while now. But I'm gonna assume it was just like the lowest priority thing for the cops that day, dude. Some lady's like, she doesn't like the skaters out in front of her house. The cop's like, I'll get there when I get there, okay? Anyways, he gets let through the gate. The guard kinda obviously points towards us. He pulls up and he gets out of the car, and it's a cop, and he walks up. He's like, all right, guys, what's going on? And we're kind of like, nothing. You see, the curbs in this neighborhood aren't a normal curb. They're like a little ramp, so they're steeper down here than they are up by his house. So we set the rail here so we could use the ramp, da-da-da-da-da. And the cop is like, okay, yeah, fair enough. Is like, are you guys doing anything illegal? Or is like anything going on? You guys arguing with people, whatnot, da-da-da-da-da. We're like, no, you can ask the security guard. We haven't really been doing anything. There was one lady up there, and we point at her and her husband in the lawn chairs that like got really mad at us, but we just told her we weren't leaving because we're allowed to be here. And the cop was being super cool with us, you know. He's like, awesome, yeah, I understand why you guys would use this as a ramp. Like, he was just being a cool dude. Obviously, you know, at some point in his childhood had ridden a bike off a jump before and understood what was happening. And he tells us, yeah, when I got here, I talked to the guard, and he said you guys had just been kind of minding your own business, so I didn't think there was much going on. But I'm going to go talk to them real quick, and I'll be right back. So he starts walking towards Karen and her husband up there, still watching us in the lawn chairs. So whatever, we're watching the cop go up and talk to this lady in the lawn chairs and whatnot. And they're talking, and she's managing to stay calm. She's not losing it on the cop like she did the guard, probably because she realizes that, you know, that's not going to go down as well. It was almost like she was a little bit self-aware enough to know that yelling at this guy wasn't going to be as good as yelling at like the guy in the guard shack. So whatever, they're arguing for a bit. We see her husband getting a little frustrated, like kind of moving his arms up and down, like, what the heck? But we can't really hear what he's saying. And after about 2 minutes, they get their lawn chairs packed up and they like walk inside their house. And the cop kind of starts walking back towards us, but he's got this big smile on his face like it was funny. And he comes back, he's like, all right, you guys should be okay. There shouldn't be any more problems, you know, no issues to happen. And we're like, okay, well, do you want us to move? Like, da-da-da-da-da, because we mentioned that, you know, she said her friends were coming or whatever. Like, we're like, do you want us to move? And he goes, well, that's why I'm laughing. Apparently, after they had, like, gone back all pissed off that we wouldn't move, they had called all of their friends and canceled. So when he had gone up there, they're like, well, we had already canceled our plans. And the guy's like, okay, well, In that case, I'll leave. Like, okay, well, now what do you want me to do? Like, okay. And that's what they had gotten annoyed about, is what had taken them so long. And when he had tried to explain to this lady that, like, obviously this is not priority number one, you know, there were other things that took priority over this call, considering it's completely non-violent. There's really nothing happening. Like, there was just no reason for him to be running over here. And that's what they had gotten annoyed about. They were like, what if those kids would have attacked us? You wouldn't have been here. Da-da-da-da-da. And they're like, well, they weren't, because they're perfectly fine kids and you have a guard right there. Like, these people, dude, were just all mad that it had taken forever. They canceled their plans. And, you know, call me crazy. If you're friends with people that, like, are so judgmental that if you have a kid on a skateboard in your neighborhood, they think you're trashy, that's just really not a dope friend, bro. Like, if somebody came to my house and was like, ugh, there was a kid down the road on a bike. What, do you live in a ghetto? I would be like, what are you talking about, dude? I don't want to hang out with you anymore. Do you really think less of me because I live next to people I have no control over and they have a kid that's outside? This lady, man, she probably thought she was queen of the neighborhood, bro. Like, if anybody else was in the community pool, she would try to kick them out because it was time for her, like, aerobic swim class, man. This lady probably unironically watches the horse events in the Olympics and, like, knows how to judge it. Seriously, though, Karen did not get her way, and the cop was pretty chill. He talked to us for a little bit and then just ended up skedaddling when he got a little thing on his radio, and we ended up using that little ramp curb rail combination thing all the time. And every time we would do it, bro, the Karen would come out and, like, give us a dirty look and give us the finger, but she never called anyone again. She never even complained to the guard. I think, gracefully, she learned her lesson that nobody was actually going to come do anything about it. And when we ended up telling Blake's parents about it, even they were like, yeah, okay. You know, they were kind of on our side. Like, we told them. If she would have been nice and come up and asked reasonably, we obviously would have been fine with it. But, like, yeah, when you call the cops and just start screaming at us, now we're just not going to do what you want us to do. But, yeah, on that note, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I'd really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of the video. While you're down there, you might as well leave a comment. It helps me do better. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word water bottle down there. That would really help the video do better. Mucho gracias. Other than that, if you want to help out the channel, you can use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. It's a great way to get some dope energy drinks and help me out. And my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, can also be found in the description down below. And if you take a second to look on screen now, you'll see the coolest merch in the history of the planet. That can also be found in the description, and you should definitely go ahead and get yourself some. But, yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I'll see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am, and today I felt like tackling a story that I remembered from a long time ago, back when I would hang out at the skate park. Probably the worst injury I ever watched happen completely on accident. Regardless, I figured y'all would enjoy it, but before we get into it, press the like button, or no joke, no scam, you will be visited tonight by a very angry mouse, and let's go.
Nice rack and her ass Brazilian. Just turned 21, but my bank's a million.
So one day me and my friends got to the skate park, right, where we would usually hang out, and whenever we would pull up and it was empty, it usually was a sign that today was going to be a pretty good day. You know, not that I was against sharing the skate park with people, but nothing beats just like not having to pay attention to where people are coming from, just doing what you want to do. And for like an hour, we're kind of doing our thing, skating around this empty park, just having ourselves a good old time goofing off. And after a bit, another group of 2 people show up, and they were kids that would be at the skate park relatively often, so we like knew them. And so we're talking, and even then, 4 people in this skate park's not very crowded, so we're still like having ourselves a good old time, and we knew them, so it's not really awkward. And they tell us that they have a friend coming to hang out at the skate park who's never skated before, but he was, you know, trying to get into it, so they had brought an extra board, and like he was gonna come hang out for a bit. And obviously, me and my friend are like, all right, sure, whatever. Like, you know, obviously it's cool if somebody's going to try to come skateboard. Like, we're not going to hate him, obviously. But, like, you know, we also don't care either. And so after hanging out for a bit, their friend shows up and they get him on the skateboard. And he really doesn't understand what he's doing at all. You know, he's not clueless. Like, he can ride it down a ramp. But when it comes to, you know, getting it to do anything, ollie, do any flips, he's not having himself a good time. But as he's watching everybody, he starts to be like, look, even if I can't land it, can you guys just like show me the motion for a flip so I could kind of do it and then jump off the board and like just kind of watch it do the flip or whatever. And obviously that's kind of a weird question, but like one of his friends says sure. And so he kind of shows him how to do the motion for a pop shove it, which isn't a flip. It's not a kick flip. It's not a heel flip, I know. But when you're not a skater, it feels cool to kind of make the board spin, right? So they show him how to do that, and he kind of just starts going around on ramps and like getting to the top of the ramp and letting the board pop shove it and just kind of letting it fly. Like, he's not staying above it. He's not trying to land on it. He's just going up to the ramp. Once he gets to the lip, popping it, letting it spin and fly away like a helicopter. And for those of you that don't know what a shove it is, it's like literally when the board spins in a circle. Technically, it's a half circle, okay, I know, but like, whatever. If they're not skaters, I'm trying to explain what it looks like. And so, you know, obviously, it's not the best thing for the skateboard to just be being tossed through the air like a helicopter. But, you know, the other issue with this is he's just kind of launching it, right? And so if you're on the other end of him launching this skateboard helicopter style, you kind of have to dodge out of the way of this. And so there was one time where he had come up this ramp, launched it up the bank. It had almost hit me, and I told him, like, hey, dude, please be careful if you're going to be, like, shooting the board out from under you and just letting it launch. I don't want to get hit in the head with the skateboard, you know, like, please don't do that. And he kind of, you know, like, doesn't really take it seriously. Not that he needed to take me seriously. Like, I don't know, whatever. No one has to take me seriously. But he kind of rolls his eyes and he's like, whatever. Like, you know, okay, sure, whatever. I won't launch it towards anybody. And I wasn't trying to be a jerk. It's just like, don't be launching an out of control board towards people because it's out of control. There's nothing you can do about it if it hits somebody. Like, I don't think you're trying to snipe me, but if I'm at the other end of the ramp, don't launch your skateboard off the end of it. And I could just tell it was kind of being an issue. So he kind of goes to the other end of the park and he starts just doing it again. And there's this one ramp that we had right when you entered this particular skate park. It's called a nipple ramp. For those of you that don't know what it is, it's not like a ramp that's kind of like a triangle shape. It's literally like a little bump in the ground that's more like an egg coming out of the ground on all sides. It looks like a little nipple. And the nipple ramp, you know, doesn't really launch things in a predictable way at all because it's round at the top. Like, if you're going up a bank and you push something up it, you know it's going to go straight up and, like, probably just straight, right? Unless you're pushing it at an angle. But when the board goes up this nipple ramp and you're not on top of it and you're pushing it and trying to get it to fly through the air, it doesn't really do what you want it to do all the time. And whatever, he's kind of looking at it and he goes over it a couple times. He doesn't launch his board off of it. And it just so happened that the friend that I had come with, one of them, was skating this like grind box that was across from the nipple. And there's probably about 6 feet of distance from the middle of the nipple ramp to like this grind box. Enough for you to kind of go up and over it and just like dodge by the box. Well, this guy, as I've said, does not exactly have the best control of the board. And so he goes down this bank, gets to the bottom of the bank, it starts to go towards the nipple ramp and come up over it. And as he's coming up and over the nipple ramp, my friend is coming down a different bank towards the box. So they're kind of coming towards each other for like a head-on collision, but they're not going to hit each other. If this dude just rides over the ramp, they'll miss each other, everything's good. But he gets to the top of this nipple ramp, and sure enough, I watch his front foot come up, and his back foot just starts shooting the board forward and spinning it. So he does that, and this board launches off the nipple ramp, and it's spinning like a helicopter. Like it's up in the air now, and it's flying through the air, and I'm watching it, and my friend looks at it, sees it coming towards his face, turns, but I just hear the end of the board smack into his face, like right below his eye. And instantly, it's just like and everything's just silent. And all we hear is, oh. Not crying, not screaming, just like groaning. And the kid who had launched the board off the ramp is just standing there. And I go, you idiot. That's why I told you not to do that. Like, that's why I said don't do that. Obviously, I don't think he was trying to hit the dude in the face with the skateboard, right? But when you're just launching this thing through the air, it's just spinning everywhere. It's just like this hunk of wood. Inevitably, it's going to hit someone. And I start going to my friend, but when I get there, he's on the ground and he's covering it, and I just see blood. And I don't know at this time that it hit below his eye. I wasn't like looking at it, right? But he gets up and he's like, I've got to go. Like, I've got to go. I've got to go. I've got to go. And it just so happened that this skate park is kind of tucked behind a shopping center. There's like a park near it. And in that shopping center, there's a grocery store
And then next to that grocery store, like attached to it, is a pharmacy, but the pharmacy has an urgent care. And I'm like, let's get to the urgent care. Like, just go to the urgent care, right? So he gets up and he's covering his one eye with his hand where he got hit. And he's like going down this hill into this shopping center. And it's kind of downhill and he's dragging one foot. We're going slow. And like the other people just stayed at the skate park. I go with him, right? And we get to the door of the place and like where he's going to go into the pharmacy and like see what's up. And he says, I don't want you to come in with me. You know, I'm really hurt. And whoever my mom sees me with is like going to get in trouble for it. Like they're going to get some blame for it. So just get out of here. And I'm like, are you sure? Are you sure? And he's like, yeah, just go. So I dip out of there. I go back to the skate park. I know he's at like the pharmacy urgent care thing. But like 5 minutes later, we start to hear sirens and we see an ambulance pull into that parking lot. And at that point, I just had like a really bad feeling.
I'm not going to skate down there, though. There's, like, nothing for me to do. What am I going to do? Like, walk up to the EMTs? I know what happened. You know, obviously not. And so the next day at school, I'm waiting, like, for him to come to the class we have together or to see him at any point. And I don't see him. He's not at school. And at that point, I'm like, did this guy die? Like, obviously, I know that's probably not true. But, like, he's not at school. I have no idea what happened. I see an ambulance come the next day. He's not here. The next day, though, he is at school. And, you know, as I said, when we were going to the urgent care place skating together, I was more focused on making sure he doesn't fall. He's covering his eye. Like, it was just very stressful situation. So I guess I wasn't paying, like, the closest attention to what it looked like. When I see him, dude, half of his face is swollen. Like, not incredibly swollen, but, like, still swollen, and it's 2 days later, and it's purple. Like, his face is messed up. He's got an eye patch on, but not like a puffy eye patch. I don't know how to explain it. It was more like tape and, like, cotton balls. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, what happened? What happened? Like, are you okay, dude? I didn't realize how serious this was. And he goes, I didn't either. The board hit me in the face and I heard a really loud crack and I knew I was bleeding. I knew it hurt. It really hurt to touch. But when I got to urgent care and I was talking to the guy, he goes, no, you need to go to the hospital. And so they had called my mom. They called an ambulance. I get to the doctor's office. And apparently, or like not the doctor's office, the hospital, you guys know what I mean, like, and he had broken his eye socket. I guess when the guy had launched the skateboard, like by spinning it, as I said, it's kind of going through the air, doing the helicopter motion, and it had just so happened that he had skated into it right when it had turned, and the wheel, like if you know on the end of a skateboard truck, there's the wheel, there's the nut that keeps the wheel on. That had gone and hit him right underneath his eye, like in that little bone you have right there. And it had been spinning, flying through the air. And apparently that had been enough to like break his eye socket. I didn't even know you could break that up until this point, to be honest. I thought that was one of those things where, like, yeah, you could break it, but if you break it, you have bigger problems. Anyways, obviously his mom had been like, what happened? What happened? And so he had told her, but, like, he didn't mention who it was. And so she's like, who did it? Obviously this kid, like, I would have been pissed. I'm not gonna lie. I would have been like, it was this guy. He was being stupid, spinning it through the air. But my friend was nice enough to realize that the kid definitely did not mean to, which I will give him that. Like, he did not mean to do it. I had told him not to do it. But it wasn't like he's sitting there going, I'm going to make this board spin through the air, hit someone under the eye, and try to break their eye socket. I don't think that was on his to-do list before that moment. You know what I mean? So he just didn't say who it was. He said he didn't know, right? So, like, obviously, I'm just happy he's okay. I'm looking at him. His face is incredibly messed up. And I don't mean that in a rude way, dude. I just mean, like, it looked rough. If you would have looked at this guy, you would have not thought that he was at the skate park and had something happen. It really did look like he had fought a tiger or something. He went all Joe Exotic and tried to 1v1 a lion. And honestly, at that point, too, I can't lie. Like, if I would have gotten that hurt at a skate park, it probably would have been done for me. Obviously, I know that, like, it's not skateboarding's fault. It's not, you know, like he crashed skateboarding. But getting hit in the face with a skateboard hard enough to break my eye socket at a skate park is probably enough to leave a bad taste in my mouth. But as soon as he was healed, which did take an incredibly long time, he was right back to, like, skating. He would still come to the skate park. He'd still hang out. This time, though, for, like, the first 3 months he was back to skating, she eventually stopped. But his mom would come to the skate park and, like, watch. She would just sit there in, like, a lawn chair and make sure that everyone was on their best behavior, not doing anything dumb to get her son hurt.
Which, I can't blame her, dude. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do, but kudos to him for even getting back on a skateboard, to be honest with you. I will say, the guy who had come to the skate park that day to try skateboarding for the first time, definitely probably not a good first experience. You're at the skate park for the first time, you end up shattering a kid's eye socket, and, he has to go to the hospital. He did never come back to the skate park. That was the only time I ever saw him there. The only other times I'd ever seen him was, in the hallway and whatnot, and he was always looking down, he was kind of aware of the fact that maybe it was pretty embarrassing. And I know it was an accident, dude, but I also think probably the best move was to not come back to the skate park and get super involved in the skateboarding community where you also just broke someone's eye socket. You wouldn't have had any problems, dude. Nobody would have, beat him up or tried to fight him or anything. It just might have been a little awkward, Especially imagine if he ever actually did learn how to pop shove it at that point. He had just been throwing the board around to make it look cool. He actually does master it. Would he get some Avatar level powers? How Aang in Avatar The Last Airbender is riding the little air ball around? Is that what that guy would do? He'd just be able to pop shove it anywhere he goes. Once you break someone's, eye socket with the pop shove it, you gain special powers to just do it down any gap or any obstacle. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video, though. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to press the like button and let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. It really does help out. If you don't know what to comment, just go ahead and comment the word skateboard down there. It helps me hit recommended, and I'd appreciate it. Other than that, if you want to help me out even more, you can check out the intro song link down below. A link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, can also be found down there. And if you really want to help out and get yourself some G Fuel, the best energy drink for gamers by gamers, use code SCRUBBY at the checkout and you'll get yourself a discount. Helps me out, helps you out. Literally, everyone's a winner. You got nothing to lose. Other than that, I did go ahead and put some of my story times up on Spotify so that way you guys could listen to them offline, or if you don't want to watch the gameplay, you don't have to. That link will be at the top of the description, so be sure to go check that out. But yeah, on that note, that'll actually do it. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot. Hopefully, I will see you guys all next time with another video. I'm out. Peace. Also, just be careful not to break people's eye sockets.